Hello, probers, and
Hey, probers, hey.
hello, probers, and welcome to the extraterrestrial comedy podcast. But it was aliens, where we look for the truth in this world's alien experiences. If it's bullshit, we will tell you. This week, I'm your champion of fact, Kevin the Grey, and with me is your naysaying negative Nancy, Granville Moonwalker.
Hey, bitch.
See, negative.
It's not negative if it's true.
Such negativity. Bitch is a word that holds down the people. Bitch.
No, it's the name of a female dog.
Holding down the female dog. Anywho, today we are returning to California.
Knows how to party.
I warn you, this week's episode is going to be one of our weirdest in some ways. Big words? I know.
Very big words.
What would you say the weirdest is so far?
Probably samurai swords.
What, John Thumb?
Just in terms of everything that happened in it.
What about the two guys who tried to abduct the alien?
Yeah.
And they
No.
ran to the police station.
John Thumb. Simply portals. All the things that happen.
In terms of most going on,
The
I'd give
weird
you
guy that turns up with the
With the machete. Yeah, I think definitely in terms of the most going on, I would go for John Thumb. But I don't know that it's just the downright weirdest. Like in terms of, that's just really strange. Do you know what I mean?
In that case,
like
I'd
a man-
probably say sex painter.
Yeah, I was just going to say, a man banging an alien is probably, and not just banging, but having an affair and having so many children. And I lean towards that one as being strange more than Romanik, because it's just so clearly bullshit for Romanik.
For now, I'll go sex painter for now.
This one is a different type of strange. So, in the dead of night, on the 17th of August 1971, a pair of men native to Palos Verdes named Peter Rodriguez and John Hodges, who at the time...
Sorry. Are you vouching for this John? You vouched for every other John before him. I want to hear you vouch for him.
Okay. Do you know what? I'm not going to say I'm going to vouch for him just yet, because I feel like I'll be giving away the story. If I say I'm vouching for him, you're going to think it's bullshit straight away. What I will say is that I wouldn't mind hanging out with John.
Ooh.
He's a cool John.
Not all Johns are cool.
They are.
John Thumb.
Different type of John. He hasn't got an H in his name, it's just an N.
No, there's an age.
So John Hodges, who at the time was, along with Peter Rodriguez, in their late 20s. They're on the way back from a mutual friend's home at 2 in the morning. The gentleman climbed into Hodges' car, started the engine, and were about to drive off when they were greeted by something never recorded before or since in the annals of ufology. The gentlemen were greeted by what can only be described as two oversized, disembodied brains laying about 6 feet in front of the car in the middle of the road. Brains, yo!
Was it Krang?
Ah, Krang!
How tall were these men?
Oh, I can't remember. I don't know if I get onto that later or not. I've forgotten what I've stuck in my notes now. They weren't giants, but...
Well, they had to climb into a car. So
Yeah, but the doors could have been broken, so I had to climb through the window.
how big was the car? Ooh, 2 brains.
I think we might get onto the car later, actually.
I've got a question about the brains.
Yep.
Oh, they were oversized. I was
Yeah.
about to say someone just had like their brains cut out of their head and just laid.
No,
in the
they
road.
weren't just squelching. These were two disembodied brains just sitting there in the road and oversized, so like up to the knees or whatever. Like proper crangs. I really should have known you were going to go for Krang. Like, if I knew that, I'd have stuck a photo of Krang in right now.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
So, any questions before I get on to the next bit?
No.
You're just willing to accept that there's two brains?
I
love
am for now
To be fair, yeah, I'm saying it as aliens. Let's go home.
because there's nothing else. So I'm waiting to see where it goes.
Right. So Rodriguez and Hodges have explained that the brains were bluish in colour and surrounded by a peculiar mist. One brain was just a bit bigger than a football. The other? Ooh, this bastard was big! Hodges and Rodriguez described the second brain as being the size of a human torso, with a red eye in the centre of the frontal lobe, which is obviously the bit at the front around your forehead area. The men were puzzled. And yes, I have a picture. Well, a couple of artist mock-ups, if you will. If you'd like to check these out. Which one's getting you?
I'm looking at the first one. It reminds me of Kabuto from Pokemon.
Oh! I was about to shake my head and say I'm not with you there. Then, yeah, I'm with you there. I'm with you!
The description of the brains, I
Yeah.
cannot remember the name of it because I'm not a big Metroid fan.
Oh, Mother Brain.
That's the one.
Yeah,
But
well, to
out
be
of-
fair, these
out
look
of
kind of
its
like
thing.
Metroids as much as they do Mother Brain, kind of a mixture of the two of them. So, I'm just going to rewind and explain what the first picture is whilst Granville's checking out the second. So, the first is literally a black and white picture of quite a large brain with two glowing eyes. Granville, if you'd like to describe the second.
Well, there's two things that come to mind.
Yeah.
Frogs
Oh, that's not where I was going, but okay.
with one eye
Yep.
or penises.
Okay.
Big, fat,
We're going to post these on our Instagram so you'll be able to see them. But
and they do have one eye.
difference between me and Granville here, he went for penis. I see turkey and ass. But I look at the bottom one of this image, I see a turkey with an eye in the front and a slit all the way through it. And the back one is just an ass with a weird spot on it on the cheek.
Okay, so if you look at that bottom one, you can see
Yeah.
shaft with the eye and the two balls at the side.
It's been sliced all the way down it if that's the case. And what the fuck are the tentacles?
Pubes.
See, to me, they're turkey legs.
And the other one is just
Pubes?
just a penis sitting on its balls.
Honestly, folks, you're just going to have to look at these because I don't really know how we're going to describe them. The top one, now that you've said balls, it does look kind of like a pair of ball bags with loads of little hairs on it, actually. and a wart. The wart seems to have a Hurricane Helms H in it.
That it does. So does the second one, really. It's just smaller.
Yeah, but I just don't know
Right.
how we can describe these so people can understand what we're looking at.
Right where the Jap's eye would be.
It's just one of the strangest pictures we've yet had.
Oh, there's another.
Yeah, and we
What
have
the fuck are they? They look like floating sheep.
bluey brains.
Okay, so what I'm looking at is
Glorious.
if you picture a sheep with.
Mixed in with Ghastly from Pokemon. Imagine if Ghastly was blue and instead of being a black circle, it was a blue, like, sheep's body.
With one eye
Yeah, and then two arms.
and two arms. And that's it. And then there's another one, slightly smaller, with its legs on the floor. So the other one floats and has arms. The other one walks and has legs.
Although that could be to do with depth perception. He could be floating too.
No, it's
just
not.
further.
It's on the floor.
Okay, he's walking.
It's walking on the road.
I'm happy to go with that. To be honest, that's probably the least weird thing that we could come up with for this. But what the hell would you do if you were getting in the car at 2 a.m. and you saw this shit in front of you?
I'd grab a Pokeball.
Grab a ball. Give it a little tickle.
I choose you.
Like, this is so bizarre. Sometimes we hear stories people have seen, like your typical greys and whatnot, and you're almost inclined not to believe them because it's what we've been brought up to expect in pop culture. This shit is so left wing, left field, that why would you come up with this? There's just nothing like this out there.
There really isn't.
And I love it!
It's like if they were on mushrooms or LSD while playing Metroid. This is what they've come up with.
Oh, I've forgotten what year it was already. It's my case. Whoops. 71, wasn't it? Yeah, 71.
LSD.
So Metroid wasn't even out yet to inspire them. But they had seen balls and they had seen penis. Might have seen turkey. Might have seen ass.
Would have seen sheep.
So Rodriguez and Hodges' perplexed feelings were quickly replaced by sheer terror. Hodges put his foot on the gas and sped away. The chaps lived in the same neighbourhood as their mate, so it didn't take long to get home. Hodges dropped off Rodriguez and then made his own way home. When arriving at his house, Hodges noticed that it was 4:30 a.m. This should have been a 10-minute trip.
Ooh. I have a question.
Yep.
I should have asked this earlier, but I didn't.
Right.
Did these things move? Were they just sitting there, or were they like hovering around? Like a
They were
ghastly-
hovering.
Just like this.
Yeah, kind of. They weren't stationary as such.
I say just like this. I am now hovering from side to side. Not hovering,
Doing like a
swaying.
swirly dance in front of me. You heard that bit.
Lost time, eh?
Do you know what? Sometimes we have a few drinks when we're recording this show. Today we're completely sober.
The weirdness of this
Yeah, it's got me in the zone.
thing is proper frowny. And I'm in a really foul mood, so
Not
how
anymore.
weird this is
You needed this.
kind of lightened. So yes, they did move. They moved.
Yeah,
Lost
a little bit. But we're going to get into a
So
little
did
bit.
they drive around them, or did they reverse?
I think they went past them, although actually they sped off, didn't they? So they might have. I'm not entirely sure. Or am I?
You tease. You harlot, you
So
floozy.
they sped off, and then suddenly it's 4:30 a.m. considering it was like 2 a.m. before.
Are they drunk?
Well, that's probably something we should talk about in the conclusion, isn't it?
Okay.
Unless you want to talk about it. Were they drunk?
Were they?
I'll tell you later. So how did a 10-minute trip become a 2-hour adventure?
Drunk!
Let us probe the truth. Now I know you and most of our listeners will be aware that missing time is a phenomenon often associated with alien abduction. Often, missing time has occurred following sightings of strange lights in the sky, but not this time. Today, we have giant disembodied brains. Some people just get on with their lives and put the missing time to the back of their mind, but not Rodriguez and Hodges. They had to know where the time had gone.
Could you blame them though? They saw two flying
Oh,
or
yeah.
floating brains and missing time. You're not just gonna leave that.
Yeah, I'm generally quite a skeptic. Like, if a ghost appeared in front of me, I'd be more looking towards how it wasn't really a ghost. If I saw two giant brains in front of me that are like turkeys and dicks mixed together, I'm not sure how I'd take that one. Not that I'd take a turkey dick.
Yeah, you would. I would, if I saw a ghost in front of me, wherever building I'm in, I would promptly leave.
Yeah, see, things like that don't bother me at all. But I'm not sure how, because it's just... You ever handled a brain in, like, science class, biology?
No.
Okay, they're a bit murky, really, a bit gooey, squidgy. They're just not that pleasant. If you see one floating in front of you, that's pretty rank, on top of the fact that how the frick is it floating? And it had like a Rick James aura around it as well.
I'd want... Well, this is in the 70s, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I'd be
71.
Like, someone tried to create Pokemon and this is like an escaped Pokemon. Like Mewtwo.
Except for Pokemon didn't exist back then, so it wasn't a Pokemon.
What was it?
The first Pokemon. Pokemon Zero. Nintendo, if you're listening, we'd like to work with you on this one. We won't ask for that much money, only 50%.
Would that be 0 and 1? Or do they come as a pair? Like
It's the
Diglett.
same. No, it's the same 0, so it's like 2 Pikachus.
Diglett Dog Trio.
Yeah, should I move on, or do you want to...
What if the bigger brain is the evolution of the little one?
Oh, so they start walking, but then he learns to float.
Yep.
Oh, now it's going to have to be like -1 and 0. You've ruined it.
0 and 1.
It's not as cool if you stick it on the end at like 748. There's probably even more than that now, isn't there?
Probably.
I lost count at 3.
After Charizard, there was no point.
Although,
It's a lie.
oh no.
We are showing how geeky we are right now. By the way.
See, I'm in on Pokemon. I don't often know the references when we're getting into like manga and stuff, but Pokemon, I'm all over it. But I've forgotten the name of my favourite. It's the thing that looks like a Pikachu, but it's not a Pikachu. It's the ghost.
Oh, I know. I know which one you're on about. I don't know his name.
Oh, that's going to bug the crap out of me.
In Super Smash Bros, it grabs you and takes you under it in its little thing. Is it like a Mimikyu?
Yeah, Mimikyu.
That's it.
Oh, that feels so good. It's my boy, Mimikyu.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool looking Pokemon.
I just like the fact that it's completely ugly, but it dresses up a Pikachu and it's creepy as shit.
I'd have to say Gengar's my favourite.
Yeah, that's another creepy one. I like the creeps.
Ghosts. Yeah, Gengar is my favourite Pokemon.
I like creeps. Creepier the better. I like the one that eats children's dreams as well.
Isn't that
Drowsy?
Drowsy.
Yeah. Fuck your dreams.
Nom 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 nom. Oh, we're sober.
In 1976, 5 years after the incident, that's 5 years of thinking they were gloves on feet, sandals on hands, crazy for seeing disembodied aliens, Hodges finally decided to undergo hypnotic regression therapy to access those memories.
Hypnotic regression, here we go.
This method is slightly controversial, but it gets results.
Does it though?
What do you think happened? I mean, to be fair, it does get results. I'm not sure if they're
Correct.
true results, but the results are there.
I don't know. Maybe they took too many drugs or had their drinks laced. Didn't know. Like,
Yeah, you're hitting pretty hard on that party theme, aren't you?
I am. I mean, they left their mate's house at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I wasn't going to tell you that again, but you've taken it in, damn it.
I can't remember a time that I've left someone's house at 2 o'clock in the morning and it hasn't been like after a night out or something like that.
And you see brains regularly.
I don't take drugs. I just get drunk. Sometimes
clam.
very drunk. And pass out in the hallway. On Christmas Eve. Good times.
That was a bad Christmas Eve. There was no need to get that drunk.
It was a bad Christmas day. I felt that.
That's the most hungover I've been in my life, to the point I've never been that even close to hungover since. That must have been, 5 years ago now or something?
No, it was only
3
3.
years? 3 years ago, yeah. Oh, I don't even think I've had a proper hangover since then. It's just put me off.
Neither.
It was horrific. I got into bed, I rolled over, I turned back around and Granville was face down on my hallway floor. I don't know how he got there.
Well, I remember us walking into the bathroom saying I'm going to the toilet. And then I tried to open the door and the door obviously must have opened. But then I just hit the floor.
The thing is, you couldn't have hit it hard because it would have made me stir. But you must have gradually crawled your way into my hallway and stopped like a dying man.
Good times.
Good times.
Shots.
Yeah, our friend got a bit crazy on the shots, didn't he, that night?
Mm-hmm.
Swine. Anywho, Hodges' first recollection after being put under was that the larger brain had spoken to him telepathically. It said to Hodges,
Take the time to understand yourselves. The time draws near when you shall need to. You shall not remember this incident until we meet again.
Is this brain telling him to play with himself?
I didn't get that interpretation when I found this, to be honest. But I can see why you did. Again, this is why you go for penis. I see turkey. This is a great episode.
Understand yourselves how?
Sexually, apparently.
Okay. Then told them to play with themselves.
Also, the time is drawing near.
hold on. There's more than one way to play with yourself.
The time draws near when he'll need to.
Humanity could depend on it.
On him strumming away.
You shan't remember this until we meet. Why tell him to do something and then say that you're not going to remember it?
Yeah, that one lost me too.
So is he just going to wake up the next day with a habit that he has no idea how he got?
Yeah, I don't get why
Two fingers,
anything.
one tug.
I don't get why any visitor would be like, "You're going to save the world," for example. You won't remember this in the morning. Well, what's the point in saying anything? Just tell me it all or don't tell me.
Okay, I can kind of see why they would tell them. No. I was going to make the argument that if they know they're going to save the world or something, they'll just think, fuck it, and just do what they want because they know they're going to save the world. Or they'll think, I can take these risks because I know this is going to happen. But then obviously when they do start taking those risks, it could be like the butterfly effect and change destiny. Destiny!
That wizard came from the moon.
Destiny, guy.
Hodges remembered in the session that he had dropped Rodriguez off without any difficulty or visitation before returning home. Upon arrival home, however, Hodges crapped his tidy whities when he was greeted by the two large blue brains who were waiting outside his house. Hodges...
Hello there.
Hodges lost consciousness. He knew this because his next memory was of waking up in what Hodges described as a control room. This room appeared to be metal and full of computers and screens.
Right, so when you said that the two blue brains met him at his house, I pictured it. Remind me, I'm going to draw you what I pictured.
Glorious.
So they turned up, hold on. Did they tell him to understand himself before turning up at his house?
Possibly. It was hard to tell.
I'm calling bullshit.
Really? You've taken this long? I'm actually quite pleased about that.
In my head I was, but you know.
Yeah, I think you should just ride this one to the end, to be honest.
So they turn up at his house. Hi, nice to meet you. Again. And then they whisk him off to a control room.
Well, he passes out, and then he wakes up in the control room.
And then they whisk him off to a control room.
Yeah.
He doesn't pass out and teleport himself there.
Well, they whisk him off. Yeah, I was just saying he passed out before they whisked him.
So they whisked him off to a control room.
Once he passed out, yeah.
Whisk. So how did they know where he lives?
They're aliens. They're giant brains. They know everything.
Doesn't mean...
They could have just followed the bloody car.
Yeah, it's a good
They're
point.
floating. They can probably float quite quick.
They were above him.
So many possibilities.
So, do you reckon they got like mind powers?
Definitely. Because they're talking to him and they ain't got mouths, have they?
That's true. But they obviously have to lift him to get him to the control room. So do you reckon they just want...
Or the aura that's around them, do they stick the aura around him and lift him? Is that some sort of energy?
What's the thing that the girls do? That girls do when they're quite young teenagers. Normally American
Finding themselves?
Girls. No. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Do you reckon both the brains got either side of him with their
fingers.
little tentacles? And was like,
And gave him a lift.
Land of the Rebel, give me the bird. To the craft we go. Woo. Whisk, whisk, whisk.
we're fucking sober.
Hodges noticed as he became woke
Woke motherfucker.
that the brain creatures were beside him, along with a group of bald, 7-foot-tall, grey-skinned human-like creatures with 6 webbed fingers. I thought you were going to say something there, but you're just making faces at me like you're the tall webbed finger thing.
Yep.
The tall, scary bastards explained that the brains were simply organic translation devices which let them communicate with humans. Hodges was then shown imagery depicting nuclear war before he was then shown a map with several light points on it. Hodges was told that these light points have too much power and that action must be taken. Hodges was then shown another planet in ruin and told that this was a previous planet that had too much power. So basically, these beings were trying to get a message to humanity to be peaceful lest we destroy ourselves.
Then why not go to the people that have control of these things?
Because these guys are clearly important. They've just come from a party.
Took loads of drugs.
Who better to save humanity?
And
It's
watched
like Bill and Ted.
Do you reckon they took drugs and watched a film, or
Well, this
literally this is
I've just
a
decided in my head this is what Bill and Ted is based on. We're back in. It's real. Yeah, I mean, this one was so bizarre to begin with that I'm almost disappointed that the brains are translation devices.
Yeah, and they're not the actual aliens.
I just wanted them to be
themselves.
Krangs. So the creatures reiterated to Hodges that humans had to stop abusing its power or suffer the consequences.
Take the time to understand yourselves. The time draws near when you shall need to.
It's unclear whether this was a warning or a plea. So now you see where they said it.
I can't think what film it is. Do you reckon if you zoomed out of the solar system, you'd literally see Earth in a box? Where we're just boxed off from other civilizations, and outside of it, there's just loads of like planets and everyone just mingling, and we're just in a box because we can't be trusted.
That's made me think of Men in Black with the marbles.
Oh, yes.
The necklace with the marble on it, and kids playing marbles with all the marbles, and they're all different universes.
It's not kids, it's aliens at the end of the film.
Well, it's alien kids, isn't it?
I don't know if they're kids, they're just...
They're little aliens, and they've got parent aliens, so I'm assuming they're kids, but you're quite right, they could be thousands of years old. I'm not of that civilization.
I am. They're not kids. They're grannies.
Not street granny. Literally, the next word that was going to come out your mouth was street, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Hello, love, give me your money. I need help to cross the road. I'll shank you.
Oh, don't you look sweet in your little cardigan? Give me your fucking money.
After this incident, Hodges felt buzzing.
Buzzing his tits off.
Nothing to do with the drugs.
Buzzing!
Hodges opened his eyes to find himself back in his car. So there we have it. Abduction over.
Drugs wore off.
Later, both Hodges and Rodriguez were asked to draw the giant brains. Hodges drew the larger one with the red eye, and Rodriguez drew the smaller one. Later still, Hodges wonders whether his visit to the control room had been some kind of holographic projection, as the area behind the control room had been completely black, almost like a green screen. Hodges also believed that the aliens had placed a cell in his brain to enable them to maintain contact should they choose to.
There was only ever one brain.
One translation device,
These
yeah.
motherfuckers were on drugs. Because they didn't draw two of them each.
No.
I already know this is bullshit.
No,
So-
no, don't spoil. I think everyone listening right now is absolutely on board. We've decided that it's aliens.
You've decided that.
We're going to throw an extraterrestrial towers party to celebrate the fact that this is aliens.
I still think it's not aliens. It's Krang. Where did the ooze come from?
Ooze?
Yeah, the turtles got covered in ooze.
Oh, we're talking about turtles.
So Krang got covered in ooze.
Yeah,
and
Krang
became
juice.
Talking about that Krang juice.
Krang juice. But yeah, I liked that they'd both seen the brain and they both draw the same sort of thing. The only difference between drawings is one gave them longer arms, really. They're pretty similar.
I wonder if they just watched a film while taking drugs, or got told a story while taking drugs.
So in the following...
I don't know their character. It's kind of wrong for me to just assume that it's drugs.
No assumptions made.
But it's drugs. All the drugs.
In the following weeks, Hodges would state that he was receiving telepathic contact from the beings. The beings predicted, through Hodges, that war would break out in 1983 in the Middle East. So my first thought was that perhaps they meant the Gulf War and were just out by 7 years. But then I probed a little harder. In 1983, there was the Second Sudanese Civil War, which went on until 2005. The Sri Lankan Civil War, which lasted until 2009. The Kurdish Rebellion, which was part of the Iran-Iraq War lasting 2 years. And the invasion of Grenada. So did they mean one of these wars? If they'd have left it there, perhaps. But the aliens further predicted that the war would spread into Europe and result in the use of atomic weapons. Following this, the aliens stated that they would achieve a public dialogue with humans. This did not come to pass.
It's a lot of wars.
There are a lot of wars. I suppose I was quite naive to this, actually. I went on a little information spree, and my gosh, humans have a lot of wars. We are, as a species, assholes. We fight over anything.
What year was this predicted?
The wars? 1983, and the sighting was in 1971?
Yeah, but then wasn't it sometime afterwards that he had something checked? Was it 5 weeks or 5 years?
In the following weeks,
Ah,
I think we said.
okay. So maybe... Is there a film where there's a war in 1983?
That they watched.
What were their jobs beforehand? Were they in the military or anything?
I'm not sure if they were even working, to be honest. I've given you pretty much all there is on this story as we've gone through. It's not a hugely known one, I think, obviously. People would remember if they'd heard of brains before. So there is a theory, as Granville may have got close to. He didn't quite touch it, but he got close to it. But the theory is that Hodges and Rodriguez were smashed. They were travelling home at 2 a.m. Was this incident alcohol or perhaps other substance induced?
Yep. I'm going LSD or something like that. Although, actually not although, because it wouldn't have been this bad. I've seen some weird shit when drunk. So I've been drunk before. It was my birthday, actually.
Which
my
one?
24th, I want to say.
Yeah.
I got stupidly drunk and became violent, which is very unlike me when drunk. And I remember walking home on my own. And as I was walking home, it's probably a good 30, 40-minute walk at this point. I remember seeing 2 tall, dark figures either side of me. I vividly remember that.
Was there a brain?
No.
How am I only now hearing about this?
But,
We could probe you.
like, I can't put any other details. They were just, like,
Yeah.
2 dark shadows. That's all I can remember.
That was like the good angel on your shoulder and the bad angel on your shoulder. One was like, go home, go to sleep. The other was, kick the car.
I was already walking home. I caused no damage on the way home. Because I don't know how the hell I got home without getting
They carried you.
the shit kicked out of me.
They
The
carried
way
you.
I was starting on everyone in town. And the second was, I was in a taxi with a friend of ours. And I'm completely adamant there was 3 people in that taxi, not including the driver. And I was sitting in the back with someone. But he's adamant no one else was there. And I was a lot more
You're being visited
smashed
repeatedly,
than
son.
he was.
Come in.
Well,
You're being visited by aliens. I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens. Granville has been aliened.
I think that's it then. Although I hadn't been probed,
You don't know that.
to my knowledge.
So you may think, okay, this is bullcrap, but have you considered chaos theory and the butterfly effect? The theory goes that one tiny fluttering on one side of the planet could influence a tornado's time of formation or path on the other side of the planet. Basically, a tiny change in one system can result in other change elsewhere you may not consider. By telling Hodges, did he inadvertently influence even one non-relevant person who in turn influenced someone else and so on, unexpectedly averting the nuclear crisis?
Quite possibly, but The Butterfly Effect is a shit film.
I didn't mind the first one.
Awful.
I didn't mind it. I'm not saying it's great, but
40 Days and 40 Nights was another shit film as well.
that one where he stops having sex and wanking.
Oh.
That's 40 Days and 40 Nights, yeah. When he's Josh Hartnett, is it?
Yeah.
Stops
What's
banging.
the vampire one he's in?
I can't remember.
I think it's in Alaska. They have some time period where it just goes dark. That film is absolutely terrible for one scene where someone gets clotheslined and it absolutely, like, I lost my shit. Couldn't stop laughing. I think I rewound it about 15 times.
You do that when you find something funny in a film.
Yeah.
I can remember we were watching Austin Powers, was it? And at the point where
I've gone cross-eyed.
yeah, oh no, I've gone cross-eyed. We lost our shit laughing the first time. Granville, we round it, and we round it. We must have watched that scene for about 15 minutes, just cracking up laughing until it wasn't funny anymore.
Yep.
Then we watched the rest of the film.
To be fair, it's not even that bit.
And
It's a
Kung
little,
Pao?
it's a little subtlety before it
Yeah.
that gets me every single time. It's like
Chosen one.
Napoleon Dynamite. The scene where his uncle throws
Yeah.
the mate. Back in 82, I could throw a pigskin a quarter mile. Are you serious? I'm dead serious. Watch this. And it's where he reaches around with the meat and he gets up and throws it.
To be fair, there's so many bits in that.
It's that fucking laugh as well. Fucking gets me every time. I nearly wet myself watching that.
Where Nappy D is, because they've got a swing ball and he's just really going for it, hitting it round. That bit gets me.
Yes.
But yeah, that is pretty much all we have on the Palos Verdes Krangs. Yeah, I knew you were going to see Krang. How could you not think of Krang?
Exactly.
For those listening, which is of course everyone, I've slapped a picture of Krang in the research notes.
Krang, 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 krang.
So I couldn't find anything else on Hodges or Rodriguez. I'm assuming they lived out their lives quietly, although I can't rule out that the aliens came back for them. So to summarise, Hodges and Rodriguez had been at a friend's. It was the 70s. Upon leaving the friends, the guys saw 2 giant blue space brains surrounded by mist. 1 giant space brain surrounded by mist. Forgot I embellished a little bit at the start.
I thought so. Prick.
They fled, and Hodges dropped Rodriguez home. Upon arriving home himself, Hodges realised that it had taken 2 hours to get home, and that was a 10-minute drive.
Because you're drunk.
5 years later, Hodges underwent regressive hypnotherapy and discovered the brains were waiting for him at his home. Hodges was abducted and taken to a control room whereby he was either warned or begged to cease Earth's misuse of nuclear power lest we destroy ourselves. The creatures on the ship were 7 foot tall, grey and bald. Because who needs hair? They predicted a nuclear war that never came to pass. That pretty much sums it up, I think. What are you thinking?
They were high, or some drugs were involved. I can't see you getting drunk and... Well, I say that. You could get drunk and picture that stuff. So did they talk about it before trying to find out what it was? So did he go home and then the next day call him up and go, oh, can you remember seeing such and such?
I guess they must have, because they were both asked about it later and both drew the same sort of thing. But what I've given to you, like, this isn't one where I've selected like bits and pieces that's going to make the best show. This is literally the whole story. This is not a well-known story. There's only a few bits of evidence you can use on it. I couldn't even find another podcast that's covered it, to be honest.
I mean, the fact that he sought out hypnotherapy. I mean, if you already think you saw that, then your brain's going to fill in missing blanks to complete that.
Absolutely. We've suggested that about hypnotherapy a few times, that we think that it might not necessarily be what's happened, but what's in your mind or what you're encouraged to kind of embellish upon. I don't know if embellish is the right word there, actually, but regardless, what you're sort of encouraged to think about, then it becomes fact to you after the hypnotherapy, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. The brain isn't very accurate.
The brain is not very accurate.
But this floating brain predicted wars.
But yeah,
it didn't.
It's interesting that he thought about this for 5 years before then going for it. Obviously, he saw something.
Oh, so it was, would have been 1976 at that point then.
Yeah. So, could have been drugs, but regardless, he saw something like you seeing your two figures beside you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not going to look into that, but...
Conclusion time. So are you saying that it was aliens?
No, I'm not.
Say the line, bitch.
I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was very nice to see Krang make an appearance.
I was going to jump in and do an impression of your voice there to say it was aliens. You didn't give me the chance. So I'm not saying that it was aliens. All I can say is that cocaine is one hell of a drug. What really lets this file down is that the prediction didn't come to pass and the aliens never made contact with humans. I also continually struggle with the fact that the aliens always pick some random bloke to communicate with or bang. If they abducted, say, Ryan Gosling or The Rock, Hillary Clinton, well, maybe not, they'd stand a significantly better chance of having an impact upon our war-torn planet. Why can't we all just get along? Okay. No. Any final thoughts before we can, close?
I'm surprised at how crazy we've been with no alcohol.
Yeah, and this has been quite a long episode as well, actually. And it's one of my shortest pieces of research.
But that doesn't mean that we're going to stop drinking alcohol when we probe. Hashtag probe.
Right. Well, that's today's show, Probed. Thank you, probers, for listening and giving us the opportunity to continue bringing this show to you. To you. We genuinely love doing this. If you'd like to get a little probing going on with us, you can find us on the Instagram at But It Was Aliens Podcast. We're on the Twitter.
On that Twitter!
At But It Was Aliens. I'm going to make that a thing. You're going to hear other shows now. You can find us on the Twitter.
On the Twitter!
This has been the But It Was Aliens podcast. I've been your host, Kevin the Grey. He still is Granville Moonwalker.
Yes, I am.
Yes, he is. All being well, if those pesky MIBs haven't found us, we will be heard by you next Thursday. And until then, remember, if in doubt, the truth is up there. Right up there. Hashtag probe.